Well, on the slide, you can see that it's slightly different colored from the purplish one toward the right-hand side. So the purplish one, it looks like a step down so that you're descending the stairs for the Emmys and Oscar presentations. Those are the BA numbers, which is of the Omicron. At the far left is BA5. Then it goes to BA 2.75, and then to 4.6, and then there's a BF in there, and then some more BAs. But if you look at the far right, those blue ones, the ones that at the very end, the last column, if anybody can read them from here, I think that you can become a Sea Scout. The bottom part is BQ 1.1. Now that's kind of the, it's a lighter blue-gray, and that is the BQ 1.1. And you'll see that is going down in frequency. And then above that is BQ1. And then further above that, and really you'll only be able to look at the table and see this, is XBB 1.5. The most contagious variant. And that is contagious for several reasons. It has mutated on the spike to make it stickier. And it is mutated to make the previous generation of antibodies, boosters, less sticky. So that's why there was a new vaccine in September that was called bivalent, and that had more activity across these newer mutations. But I've given you data from 2022. What's happened in the last 2 weeks? Santa Clara now has increasing cases of COVID. It was decreasing before. XBB 1.5, and I'm sorry, this is what they call them, has increased from 30.4% to 43%. And hence the BQ1 and BQ 1.1 have decreased in proportion. In the Northeast region, these are countrywide data. In the Northeast region, in New England, XBB 1.5 has increased from 71% of the cases to 81.7%. If that doesn't send a chill through the room, you're not listening. This is the nature of this virus, is it mutates. The things that we can do about that. Well, anybody have an idea of what you could do? Raise your hand. Somebody's paralyzed from the neck down. Yes.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask. So where do you keep your mask?
I keep it on my wrist.
That's a new fashion statement. Keep mine in my pocket. I do not enter a building that has a roof without it. This virus is no joke. And those who've had it and had a tough time with it know you've survived it, so it didn't kill you. But would you like to have that every week? Not so much. So the mask, and what about the times that you are in close proximity to people? How good is the mask? This much? This much? This much? This much? It's in the 30 to 50% chance to decrease.
Okay.
That is not chopped liver.
Yeah.
What about new vaccines? If they have a new, by the way, do you know how long it takes a drug company to produce a new vaccine? How many people think a year? How many people think 6 months?
Well, it all depends though, because when the COVID first came in, they came out with the COVID vaccine in a short term, but everybody, it was still not 100%.
Correct. So we're talking about a new vaccine that is now specifically for these variants. 3 months from time to start to time to produce. That is amazing when you think about other vaccines. Anybody know where smallpox vaccine came from?
From
Cow skin.
Pardon me?
From the cow.
cowpox.
Cowpox.
Yeah.
I do not know if there's going to be a vaccine for monkeypox. But monkeypox, also in your handout, is spread by contact. And it's not so much spread by coughing. It gives you a rash like shingles, where the virus is in the rash part. So given this, how much room should you give to despair? Of, we can't. Anybody remember Eeyore? We can't do anything. This is so terrible. Oh, woe is me. No. There are things we can do. But the people who want a black-white type of answer so that they can resume believing in the myth of certainty. And it is a myth, folks. Uncertainty is what happens. How many people were certain that they were not going to get infected with COVID because they were taking all the precautions? It's a lot, and it comes as a surprise. How many people found a single parking spot right where they needed it in front of the store during Christmas shopping? That's uncertain. We cannot change the mutation rate in the virus except by, because the virus mutation only happens when it's multiplying. So when does it multiply? When it causes an infection.
Hmm.
What are the things that people don't do to prevent an infection? Come on, folks, this is not a hard question.
Hygiene.
Pardon me?
Hygiene.
Wash hands.
Wash hands. That, by the way, is true for about every single virus you can think of. The other thing they don't do is wear a mask. And the other thing they don't do is get boosters. Now, the population, much to my chagrin, of people who don't get boosters are the 20 to 40-year-olds. As a teenager, you know that you are immortal. And it doesn't care how fast you drive, nothing can happen. When you're in your 20s, and actually at 25, your brain is fully developed, there's this arrogance of, nah, it's not going to happen to me. I had to convince my personal trainer that I wouldn't see him again unless he got boosted.
Mm.
He liked me, so he believed me. So the behaviors of people aggregating. Now, if you're going to a big cocktail party or you're going to a bar, and I know there are people in this room who go to bars once in a while. Do you? Okay. Which one? What's your favorite? Pardon me?
Jack holders.
Jack Holders. Okay. Anybody else? How many people wear a mask in a bar?
Oh, no.
There.
Oh,
None.
no, that's not true. A couple here and there.
A couple here and there. Well, first of all, they can't see all your makeup except for your eyeliner if you're wearing a mask. Secondly, you can't kiss anybody
Mhm.
on the first date. Third, it's not cool. I mean, give me a break. That black mask is not cool. And this beautiful orange polka dot one, well, that's cool. And I see that's a company mask. Anybody else have a sexy mask that they have? Oh, come on. Somebody's got to be cool. As long as it is sufficiently dense, which is N95. The double masking, where you put another filter in a cloth mask that's cute, that also works. Going into crowded places may be unavoidable. How many people take Muni? Well, it doesn't say much for the survival of public transportation. In New York, a lot of people do. That's why I said the East Coast, New England rate of the most infective virus was the highest in the country. People live close to each other and they travel close to each other. Now, as I said, I'm going to go to my granddaughter's 4th birthday. And she qualifies as a traveling Petri plate. So what am I going to do about a mask? It is a roof, and well, the thing is, I know their parents who are even stricter than I am about prevention. A lot of several of them are in medical care roles. But there's sometimes we just can't avoid it. So what are the other things that we can do in response? Well, not infect our clients or not be infected by your clients. So the hand washing, little bottle of alcohol, by the way, you can't drink it. Sorry.
Sorry, Sean.
It's just like your liver would say, not.
I'm sure many of them like that
So there is a calculated risk in some family gatherings. And how many people have played checkers? Did you take your pieces out of the back row? Or did you keep them there so that your opponent couldn't get a king?
So you have to do that.
Well, this is my test when I talk to people about their risk willingness. Because people who were willing to take their pieces out of the back row were willing to take a higher risk than the people who just kept their pieces there. So everybody has their own particular edge. But we do what we can, and there's a lot of things that we can do. How many people are really tired of this disease? If it's just, it's boring. It's really not fun. You gotta stay by yourself. It's boring. And I'm sorry, it's not going away. Flu virus didn't go away. RSV didn't go away. So these, and the countless other viruses how many people have had a cold in the last 2 years? That doesn't go away. That's in the same family as COVID, coronavirus. Corona means crown, and that's what it looked like. These little cauliflower excrescences. So what else can you do? We happen to have an expert here, or was here. He's doing wellness consultation for, oh yes, that's it. He's the man, guess what? What's he wearing? A non-sexy mask. But he's wearing a mask because he does not know this population. And by the way, one of the things that can be done in closed spaces is increase the air circulation. That's so easy to do. If you have heating, you could turn the temperature down to something that's reasonable and keep the fan on. But that's one of the other things you can do. How about taking care of your body so that you're healthier? If nothing else, you look sexier. And if nothing else, if you do get sick, you'll get less sick. And if nothing else, you will be able to lord it over all your friends if they're not exercising at least 10,000 steps a day. So think of the bonus points you get. But these these are the things that can be done. And I wish I had the same kind of news that I could give, let's say, a woman who has early stage breast cancer, that her chances of cure are excellent. Because there's stuff that treats it well. I'd like to open it up to questions. If there's anyone who dares to ask a question, I will come over and kiss your behind. Truly. Who's going to ask the first question?
I'll ask a question. But I don't want the affected.
Hey, Mickey.
Based on the numbers, I'm wondering, since we have access to home tests, when you were talking about like the 80% increase or the number, and where is that number coming from? Is
This
it-
comes from the public health departments of various cities and areas. And so this is all brought together. It's not just in the CDC. It's the US Public Health Service. And so these are data on blood tests for the type of virus. So they're typing the virus in people who are ill.
So would the number be higher though? Because there are probably people that contract COVID and they basically shelter, or, they take care of it and they never report it, never go to the hospital. It doesn't get to be critical, so they may just.
It could be, and it could be lowered if they, which they do, is test people randomly. So there are ways that they get valid data. The first part of a scientific article I read is the method section. And then it's the statistics to see whether they know what they're doing. Otherwise, I can't believe them.
So if you're saying, well, I think we know this, but the COVID vaccine is mutating constantly, correct?
The vaccine is
Not the
not
vaccine, I'm sorry, the actual.
The virus.
the virus.
So does that mean that the same rapid tests are still catching the virus?
The rapid tests are antigen,
Okay.
and there are multiple antigens that are causing positive tests. The specificity of the home tests is good. So if it says positive, yep. The sensitivity of the test can vary, and the main variant is not the test system, but how deeply you get into your forebrain with that swab. And so people will just pull out some, and that is not the way to find the area that has virus. So that could be a false negative. There are virtually no false positives. And as people understand that concept,
Yep.
You have a question on your face, the barfly.
I do. How does, I just don't know how the RSV test is done. Is that the same like as
It can be done. There are a couple of different tests. I don't have the names of those tests. RSV.
Is it like a strep test? Is it
No, it's a blood test.
a blood test? Okay. That's what I was sure.
And because there's no specific antiviral for that, they often don't test for it.
Bill?
Yes.
Just thinking globally, I know China just reported the 65,000 deaths. Is this the same kind of like mutation we're seeing?
This is a countrywide petri dish. As the increase in COVID infections occurs in a country of how many billion? 1.5?
Yeah,
1.8?
About 1.5.
I think there was a population decrease.
Yes.
Recently. So there are more than 1 billion people there who are available for infection. That is a lot of viral petri dishes. And so there will be new variants created. The variants, as I said, most of them don't help. But enough of them do help, and those are the ones that are selected. People see more pigeons than dodo birds. Yeah, well, there's selection advantage for pigeons. Other questions?
This is just quick, just to repeat something you said earlier regarding RSV transmission, did you say, I missed the part about surfaces, is it more easily transferable? Or can you just repeat?
For RSV in transmission, an infected person coughs or sneezes in your vicinity. You get the virus droplets from a cough or a sneeze in your eyes, nose, or mouth. So this is a respiratory mucous membranes. You have direct contact with the virus, like kissing the face of a child with RSV. You touch a surface that has the virus on it, like a doorknob, and then touch your face before washing your hands. Before washing your hands. People infected with RSV are usually contagious for 3 to 8 days. And like COVID, they may be contagious before they have any signs. So for COVID, it's about 2 days. For RSV, it's also 1 or 2 days. And if you have a very weakened immune system, there's other vulnerabilities. There were several gentlemen back there. Yes.
Just have a quick general question. I've been noticing a lot of athletes recently that are vaccinated. They've been passing out or having heart attacks while playing. So I just wanted to get your input to see if we have any additional information.
I don't know that passing out is more prevalent in athletes. I would think probably less so. The vaccination, if people have a history of shock after getting a vaccine, special accommodations are made. For the most part, I don't think either the NBA or pro football has a lot of people who faint after getting vaccines. Now, some of them just won't take them, except when they find out that they can't play. There's an amazing job-related stimulus for getting vaccinated.
Good.
That's all, folks. No,
Didn't
I'm
do it.
sorry.
I think there was somebody else back there. Any others? Oh, Gabe?
That would be. What's your opinion on the origin of COVID-19?
I think it was an accident
By
by contagion from a wild host like bats. I do not think this was a lab accident. I certainly don't think that China did this as a bioweapon. It screwed their whole economy, which I assure you is more important to the Central Committee than anything else. I've actually gone overtime. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Nope.
But not that sorry that I regret having spoken with you at length. Thank you so very much for your attention.